Hello and welcome to Trains and Viatic. And today I have came to Settle, enjoyed a lovely trip on the train, and I'm here with Richard from DCC Concept, and he's going to give us a bit of information. So what I'll do is I'll do the title, and then we can have a chat and a wander around. So I'm here with Richard from DCC Concept. He's a real good person. He gives really good advice. You can find him on several forums like Facebook, give you really good information. He's been into the hobby for a long while, and for shop, so NCE, and also for DCC Concept range. So I'll pass you over to Richard, who will give us a bit of information.
Yeah, as you say, we stock a wide range of stuff. So everything you see here is stuff that we manufacture, and the only thing we don't manufacture in here is the NCE power cab that we sell as a basic DCC system. So we've been in Settle since 2016 now. We took this building on, refurbished it and put the shop in. And we moved from Perth in Australia at that time. So that's where the business used to be based.
Yeah, I remember all the big rumours and stuff when we heard that you were moving over here.
Yeah, and of all the places to settle.
Yeah.
A small sleepy town in North Yorkshire, but we just happen to be immediately next to the Settle and Carlisle railway line, and we get our fair share of steam tours up and down the line, as I'm sure people who follow us on Facebook will see. So we've been here since 2016, growing all the time, developing all the time, new products all the time. Half of these walls were empty when we first came here, and we've gone from having about 250 product lines up to now over 500 product lines. So
Wow, that's a lot.
massive growth. We also have another 2 buildings here in Settle as well, plus a main warehouse that isn't in Settle because there's no buildings big enough for it. So we're bigger than I think people think, and we also sell a lot more than people think we sell. You know, you say DCC Concepts and you think of decoders and point motors, which is great, but as you'll see as you walk around the shop today, there's an awful lot more than decoders and point motors available. So as an average modeler just walking in and needing tools and accessories and essentials for your layout, you'll find an awful lot of stuff here.
Yeah, I've learnt over the years you do some really interesting things, like you got your range of ballast.
Yes.
You've got your weathering powders.
Yeah.
You've got your track cutters and
A whole range of tools,
Yep.
a whole range of accessories, a whole range of scenic stuff. Plus we have a gorgeous viaduct behind you, and I'm sure if you turn around, you'll see that with a very unusual train that's about to pass over it. I'm not quite sure those ran passenger services. Someone in your comments might actually know if they did, but I don't think they did. But rule 1 applies on this layout, I'm afraid.
roll one is a good one. Yeah.
So the viaduct that's about to come into shot there, that's an actual 1/76 scale model of Ribblehead Viaduct. It is currently in primer grey. Some of the piers at the far end, you'll notice, have got some colouring on them. They were just experimenting with stone colours. The backdrop is a drone picture from Moss to get an exact replica of the background. And the lighting at the moment is set to autumn mode.
Oh, I like that idea of different season lighting.
Yes.
So you were saying about these 2 little demonstrations
Yes,
here.
so these are just a couple of our newer lines. So these are the 00 and the N-Gauge platform accessories from West Hill Wagon Works that we're making in collaboration with them. So they're branded as DCC Concepts, produced by West Hill Wagon Works. And you can get these from any of our dealers and direct from us here. The platform on the 00 sample here, the 00 proper platform is actually out with somewhere at the moment, but this is our backup sample. This has actually just got a Bachmann platform on there, but this is the 00 platform from West Hill Wagon Works, just so you get an idea of the size and the colouring on there. And then this is the fencing, which is on this one as well, but the gates are not on this one. So these are the gates that go on the end, And then of course you've got the steps that would normally go behind the gates. They are actually over here.
Oh, that's cool. And then as we're sitting here, we've got a nice little loco running backwards and forwards.
Yeah, this is just using a standard ABC shuttle. So yes, you can do shuttling if you've got something like an ESU ECOS or Z21. You can set up detectors and things like that. But this does its total cost for the shuttle. If you've got a compatible decoder, is about £35, which is significantly less than other systems.
Yeah, that's very cheap.
And all it does is it just creates a slight voltage variant in the rail, which the decoder picks up. So if I turn on this ABC board here, so that's now turned on, and we'll get a stop from the engine at that point. If I turn that off, it'll go. Unlike DC shuttles, it doesn't cut the power.
Yeah.
What it's doing is telling the loco to stop. So it follows its normal deceleration curve, and then when it sets off, it accelerates again. And depending on which rail you put that slight voltage drop on, the decoder will carry out whichever instruction you have told it to do. So in this case, for this rail, it'll stop and carry on in the same direction. Yep. And on this rail, it'll stop and return in the opposite direction.
I always wondered how that worked.
But no detectors, no sensors, no special equipment. It'll work on any DCC system, no matter how basic.
Oh, that's such a lovely idea. Okay, I'll go have a quick look around for shop, and then I'll go and give you a little challenge. So let's have a quick little wander around. Here we've got some nice locos and a building showing bits off. These are the lights thing I have shown for the little layout. All LEDs. And these are the smaller packs. Now if we just turn around, over here we have a nice display of some locos and some products. These are what the ESP boards look like. This look quite good. So you've got hand tools, you've got weathering powder. Then if we come over here, we've got all the screws you can ever need. That's quite a good idea considering how often I lose screws. Then over here, we've got you've got LEDs, you've got rulers, you've got really nice looking screwdrivers, and even set boards, and something to hold your controller in. You've got ballast to weight your train, and then over here, you've got, if my camera doesn't go wandering, you've got the nice drill bits, snippers. These look quite good. Then over here, if the camera wants to behave, we've got wire and foam. Then we've got track gauges. All kinds of nice track gauges and LEDs. More LEDs, different sizes. I got these somewhere, which I need to put onto my wagons. Table lights and tiny little LEDs. Just over here, we've got products made in companionship with West Hill Wagon. And then back over here, we've got some lovely LEDs. Over here, we've got tons of the Mimic panels. We've got switches of different types. And then we've got accessories, nice cables, and other bits like that. Next we have ground signals, ground signals and control boards. Then over here we got the ESP range, which is the wireless system with buttons and magnets and a few other bits. Then we've got all the stuff you need for your surface mounted points and under mounted points. Over here, these are for the manual switches, and then right angle changes and motor bits. Over here we've got power bases. If you haven't seen power bases before, if you have helixes, you put this underneath. Helixes or other large ramps, you go and put these underneath and it pull it. Then you've got the working point rodding, which is something I think is very good. Over here we have the flux and soldering iron. Then we've got DCC suppressors, cables and all that kind of stuff. So over here we have the weathering powder and ballast. And we have a lovely layout being built. So in here is an incline demonstration. Then we've got decoder wire, something very useful to have. More wires and connectors. Decoders. Good range. Let me go to the other side. Still learning the gimbal. So, all the way over here, we've got more decoders, ABC units, good range of points, tilly points I think they are, with a layout here. Then you've got the stuff to create your X track, which my camera isn't in for me for filming. Over here, we have rail joiners, we have all kinds of stuff, CV recording cards. So, more X track. So if you want to build your own track, you can get all the stuff here. And then wheels. So as we have wandered all the way around, we can go back to talking to Richard. Okay, I'm not quite sure if you saw my video or not, but my last soldering iron broke. So I'm looking for a nice soldering iron, which have temperature control.
Yep.
That I can, which is good for soldering to double O track and also to G track. So.
Okay, yeah.
So what do you recommend then?
Okay, well, I've got a really good, you'll need a base station iron, a proper base station iron, because having a stick iron, you're probably not going to have the power that you need for the G. And if we go with a base station iron, then you're going to have power. You can use it on your workbench, you can use it on the layout, you can use it wherever you want to use it. So I've got one of those, I'll get it plugged in and we can have a look at it. So this is the Aten ST80, this is the one that I'd recommend for what you're doing. If you hold this, you'll feel that the wand is actually quite lightweight.
Yeah, that's nice.
Quite easy to handle. You've got a soft grip there, which allows you to handle that quite nicely. Changing the tip on this is also very simple. So you just unscrew the heat shroud here. Take that off, and then the tip is interchangeable. So it comes with a 1mm tip on it, which is great for PCB work and things, but for track work you'd need a larger tip. So we actually put a 2mm cone tip in there as well for you as well, so that you can do that. You'll notice that this is the heating element now, which is exposed. And this is a ceramic heating element. That's important because it will heat up the tip very rapidly, and it will allow really good transfer of heat to the tip. Okay, so I'll just put that back on there. In terms of power, this is an 80-watt iron. So that's quite important when you're dealing with large chunks of metal that you are on your G-gauge stuff. So you need something that's going to be able to keep the heat at the tip, because otherwise what you'll end up with if you get a low-powered iron is it will suck the heat out of the tip, and the solder will solidify on the end of the tip, and you'll end up with the iron stuck to the rail, which you then have to pull it off, and it'll just sap all the heat out. So you need something with enough power to keep that heat there. So that's why I'm suggesting this one. In terms of heating time, so I'm going to turn this on here, and you'll see the heat here is what we're set to. So I can set that to any temperature that I want. So I'm going to set that, say for example, to 380. And you'll then see the heat of the actual tip itself, and you can see that's rising very rapidly up to that temperature.
Yep, nice.
These irons are really good because you're never having to wait for that to get to temperature.
Yep.
That iron is now virtually ready to pick up and start soldering. That means that if it saves you power, because if you're not using it, you can just turn it off, knowing that within 30 seconds of turning it back on again, you're ready to go. You're never having to sort of just keep it on all of the time. If you go for the lower powered irons, especially those which have a steel heating element, they can take minutes to actually get to temperature, and you're forever checking it by dipping it on a wet pad to see if it's hot. And it's not really a very good measure of how hot that is, whereas this is very precise. You have 3 presets that you can set, so that's set to 200, that's set to 300, that's set to 400, and you can set those 3 to anything that you want. It's also got a timer on there so that if you leave it for 20 minutes and don't touch it,
that's a good feature.
It'll turn off the tip, because you don't want to burn that out, but equally it's a bit of a fire hazard if you walk out and leave it. So it will turn itself off after 20 minutes if it detects that it's not being used. So there's quite a few nice little features of that, but I'll let you, I won't grab the hot bit, but you can grab that and you can actually feel that that's quite warm.
Got a nice bit to track here. Am I in shot?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. So
yeah,
that's quite nice. And
so if you want me to get you a little bit of solder, I can do, and then you can see if that actually. Bear with me a minute. So the solder that I would recommend would be this, which is 179 degree solder. It has silver in there as well. Which means it flows very nicely. So if you just take a little bit of that, you'll see how nicely that.
Oh yeah, that is very nice.
Straight away, isn't it? And it's very, very easy to use. And then when you're actually putting it onto the surface, it just flow very nicely as well. I would combine that with the no clean flux. That just creates a very clean environment to solder onto by the flux eating away any residue or dirt or grease. And then it also, when you put the soldering iron onto it, the flux evaporates instantly, creating a vacuum which then sucks the solder off the tip of the iron and into the joint. So it's really, really good. So that's for your little challenge, sir. This is the kit that I would recommend for you. That, and what we would do is we would give you some solder and some flux to go in with that. So if you buy this, then we'd give you some solder and flux for that.
That sounds good. So I'll just put that back, and I can turn off the soldering iron.
We can indeed. There we go.
So after chatting, this is what I'll be getting for my soldering station. We got the soldering iron here, we've got the solder here, which I'll show you a nice feature in one of the live stream. Got the recommended solder, flux there, recommended solder there, and then a nice larger tip for when I'm working on the G gauge there. So what I think we need to do is have a final chat with Richard, see what else he recommends for what I have, and then we can wander off. So Richard, you have seen a few of my videos, So what would you recommend just to make my lack space a little bit more friendly?
Well, I think something that you could play with, and just an option at the moment, is you've got the ECOS system, which is a very, very competent system and has quite a lot of good features on there. One of those features is the ability to interface with another system, which is something that not a lot of ECOS users know about or use. That's achievable through the sniffer port on the back of the ECOS.
Yeah, it's one of those nice little secrets if you know about it.
Yes. So one of the things that we can use is, I presume you've got your layout set up on your ECOS, and you can change any points by touching the touchscreen. So each of the points has got an accessory address.
Yep.
Right, so what we can do is, this little product here is called ESP. You might have seen some videos on it, you might have seen it at shows.
Yep.
If you've seen us at a show, you'll see banners behind us that say, "Are you ESP ready?" This is what this is all about. This is a receiver unit. So
Yep.
this receiver unit does not have to be powered by DCC. This receiver unit can be powered by 12 volts DC, and it can plug into the sniffer port on the back of your ECOS.
Yep.
That means that you can then have a controller for your accessories. You can have a proper control panel,
Yep.
a nice track layout, which you can have as a traditional style. And if you can zoom in over here, you can see that this control panel is for the layout that you're stood in front of there.
Yep.
And I'm going to use the solenoid to do this because you will hear it change on camera. If I use a cobalt, you might not hear it change.
Yep.
So if I change this on here, you'll hear the point change on the layout.
Yep.
Just about a fraction of a second later, you'll hear me click this, and then the point change on the layout. And if you just put the camera down onto the mimic board here, this mimic board is showing which accessory address is being received by the layout. So if I change this again, you'll see that accessory address 5 is being received by the layout. That means that this, which has no wired link whatsoever to the layout, is
Yep.
sending an accessory command directly into the back of your ECOS, and then your ECOS can change the point. So no rewiring on your layout at all. It works with your system as it is, with your accessories as they are, but gives you the ability to put a physical control panel onto the layout. So that's a really, really nice bit of kit.
Yeah, that does sound like it. So thank you very much for your time. It's been really good to visit here, and nice to see it since my last visit. Oh, for a nice big range. I know you said we got to go to. I'll have to wait till you get, and there might be a nice surprise there.
Yes, we've got something huge which we're going to be launching at Getz, something that's going to turn DCC control on its head. Absolutely fantastic bit of kit. Can't tell you about it on this video. There will be a newsletter coming out about it soon, which may predate this video depending on how long you're going to take to edit it.
Yep.
I don't know. But there will be some information coming out from us soon. There'll also be a video that Larry Puckett in the United States is going to be doing for us.
Yep.
I think you met him when you saw us
Yeah,
at
I did.
Worley. So he's going to be doing a video on it for us as well. And there'll be more information sort of coming out slowly. You will see in this month's BRM and Hormy magazine a full page advert that looks like this. And if you're 4K on that camera, then your viewers may be able to get that QR code.
No, I'm not in 4K.
But it will be in BRM and it will be in Hormy magazine. You'll be able to scan this QR code and you'll be able to get more information about what is coming. But it is really cool. We should be announcing it in October, and we should be delivering. So we'll be taking orders in October, November, December, and we should be delivering in January. So it's not a long wait for it.
Oh, that's good. And then shows you're going to be at. I know you said you're at Getz.
We are at
take
Getz,
it you're
yes.
at Worley this
We
year.
are at Worley, yes. And then we'll be at Doncaster in the new year. We're already booked in for Bristol as well. So, and then those are just the shows that we're going to with our stand.
Yep.
You'll also find us going to dealers to do dealer support days. We may go to other shows but support a dealer at that show. So, for example, Glasgow, the Model Rail Scotland, we don't have a stand booked at the moment, but what we do have is we will have a layout with one of our dealers. So you'll find us at quite a lot of the shows now.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. And I look forward to my next purchases.
No problem.
So thank you everybody for watching. It's worth coming down here. I'll quickly show you outside on the station how to get here, as it's nice and easy. And see you all next time. Thank you very much, Richard.
Take care.
So you get off at Settle Station on Settle to the Carlisle line. You do leave the gate and it's just over here. If you walk through the gap in the fence, it takes you to the front of the door and then you just go in.